Hello my friends and welcome back to another episode of Flutter Explained. Today we want to talk about in-app purchases and subscriptions inside of your applications and how we can realize that. For that, I was very happy that Qonversion was reaching out to me and asking me if we could tackle that topic together. Qonversion is a platform that allows us to very easily implement in-app purchases and subscriptions and also manage them. But before we talk too much about it, let's get started and see what it can do for us. Alright, I already mentioned Qonversion. So what is Qonversion actually? It is a toolkit that gives you a lot of different tools to optimize and manage and analyze your subscription-based business model. And with that, you have the opportunity to have everything set up in your app. You have an analytics dashboard, which we will take a look into today. You have the possibility of A/B testing and also some different automations like push notifications, and the whole package comes to you thanks to Qonversion. What was very interesting for me is that it offers a Flutter SDK, of course, which is super easy to handle and use, which we will see today also. And what I was also very happy about is the pricing model, because below of $10,000 of income, you will have a free subscription model there, which makes it very attractive for startups and small businesses like most of you probably are. So, but how does Qonversion actually work? So first of all, we need products. We need a product in Apple Store, Connect, and on the Google Play Store, for example. And we can have it also on Stripe, thanks to the implementation of Qonversion. And now what is the possibility is that we have needed to set up the product in Apple or Google Play Store, and Qonversion will take this information and creates an own ID to it. So we have the Qonversion ID with the different IDs of the stores. And the SDK of Qonversion will only pass it down to the app so that the caching is done for us and all the hard lifting on which products and which permissions are existent. So now in our app, we only have to read the information that we actually need. So for example, on how does the permission work? Is the permission active? And is the subscription still active? And with all these information, we can now control the products that we have on our app. So that's the easy what happens under the hood. Qonversion will use automatically the correct in-app purchase methods. So that means if you are on iOS, it will handle it via the App Store. If you are using Google Play and Android, it will use the Google Play Store. All right, so that's the theory behind it. But now let's have a look how we can implement everything. So we start with the stores and implement our products. After that, we will have a short look into how the Qonversion dashboard looks like. And after that, we will join into the code where we really write code. And now, without further ado, let's get started. All right. So here we are in the browser and we have now everything open that we need. We have Qonversion open. This is the main website, qonversion.io, the dashboard where I show you now a demo project that I have already created, but we will create our own. Don't worry. On the second tab, we have the App Store Connect, where I'm logged in as Mahtab, where you can see the different apps that you are working on. And I have created a demo project and the Flutter Qonversion shop. We will mostly take a look into the Flutter Qonversion shop, and this is just an app scaffold. That means we don't have an APK uploaded or we don't have released anything. The most important part is here really that the app exists. And last but not least, in Google Play, we will have a look into the Qonversion tutorial, which is also just an empty scaffold of a product inside of the Google Play console. All right, down in the video description, you will find also all the links, so you don't have to remember anything of that. So just that you are aware of. And now what we want to do is we want to create a new project inside of Qonversion. But before we do that, let's have quickly a look. So we have the analytics on that part, like real-time data, installation information, trials, who has created a trial or has subscribed as a trialing period, revenue on sales, proceeds, what for refunds happened. What I really like is the events page. Here you can see all the events that happened in a specific period. So you can see on the 17th of November, I was testing a lot. So the subscription renewed because Apple makes something very special. It reduces the time of 1 month to 5 minutes, which means, as you can see, we have 1 year of subscription worth in this period. Also, what you can see is here we made an in-app purchase and all these events are getting also tracked. You can also narrow that down from Apple App Store and Google Play Store. So that works with cohorts. We have customers, and customers is very interesting because every conversion user gets an ID. This can be also an user ID that you generate on your app and pass it inside. We will have a look later on that, but I don't work with that yet. But for you, if you have, for example, a Firebase user, you can connect it in Qonversion to make sure that all 30 third-party clients are working correctly. All right, then we have also A/B testing, as I said. Here you can create something where you have two offerings. Offerings are a product bundle, so you collect multiple products under a offering, and then you can also select one of them. So you can say, okay, please show only this offering and not the other one in your app and things like that. So that makes it possible to collect data, which one performs better. So for example, on the one you offer one-on-one sessions and mentorship, and on the other one you offer mentorship with the installation guide. Which of the both are more searched, or which one is more booked and things like that. So this is called A/B testing. Then you have automations. So in automations, you can, for example, send push notifications to your customers after they bought something. You can create screens, as I said already, and yeah, things like that, or even send messages with that. And that really helps you to create a flow for the user. So for example, if someone buys my book, I could send him an email like, hey, thank you for buying and purchasing that book. Here is a link to the book itself. After that, we find the product center. We will have a look here more in deep later. As you can see, this is now my demo project where I created already a lot of things. Like we have an identifier for a permission. Then we have the offerings and the products itself. So the permissions are the allowance to access different sites, for example, in your app. For that, we have the permissions. So we we connect our products and we get a permission to a specific selection of screens, for example. Then we have the offerings, which is, as I said, the collection, like a basket of different products. And then last but not least, we have the products itself, like, for example, a subscription or non-occurring purchases, so things that you can buy right away. Oh, hey! This is the perfect moment to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. I would be very happy, and I hope this video really helps you. And now let's get back to our services. Okay, but now that we know all of that and we know how exactly they work together, let's create our own project. So for that, we create Qonversion tutorial and say next. And as you can see, now we get asked to configure our Apple Store, for example, and also our Google Play Store. And for that, we need to provide different credentials, like, for example, service account, JSON, or in the app. For the Apple Store, we will have the app-specific shared secret, the App Store ID, and so on and so forth. Where do you find all this? Of course, inside of the relevant stores. So for example, for the Apple App Store, if we head over here and take a look into our Flutter Qonversion shop that I already created, here inside, if you go to Manage, we find on the right side app-specific shared secret. And now you can create this app-specific shared secret, which is a secret, and I shouldn't show it to you, but I will delete this as example app anyway. But now I copy that over and bring it here, and we pass it here inside. Then we have the App Store ID that you can find up here. There you have the number in the link from apps. There is the App Store ID and then App Store. And also this can be added here. Good. The last part is the App Store Bundle ID. This is the name of your app that you give when you create a Flutter app. For us, it is that Flutter Explained Qonversion Tutorial Shop. So, and with that, we should be all set up. I keep the normal one. Then we have the, if you want to push something, if you want to have a push notification setup, then you have to add also here the keys, the ID, and the team ID, but we don't need all of that. So with that, we have already set up for iOS our shop, and with that, we can just say continue. And as you probably saw already, there's also the possibility to add Stripe, for example. So if you have a web shop, you can also do it with Qonversion. All right, so now you are ready to install the SDK. Once completed, Qonversion will track subscription events and send them where you need it. All right, so what's next? Install the SDK with the documentation. We will have a look there, but as you can see, it says iOS or Android. But if you go to the documentation, you will find, for example, the quick start guide. And inside of here, you will have code snippets. And as you can see, they are always existent for Flutter. So don't worry, you will find that very easily. And also here you can see we have the Flutter SDK. And of course, on pub.dev, you will find it also, which is very convenient, right? All right, so now we know how App Store Connect and the Qonversion is connected as a store. But now, how do we go further? So if I want to create a new in-app purchase, I start at the store. So in this case, I start at the App Store Connect and create my first in-app purchase. Here you can find the consumable, for example, fish food or fishing app. That would be something like a one-on-one session, something that when it is done, it is gone. You know, you buy it and it can never, you can buy it again and again and again. Then you have non-consumable things, like for example, a book would be some very good example. For example, an online book. So that means you can order it, and if you have the book, you don't get it again because you only let's say, unlock it again. Then we have auto-renewable subscriptions. That means after 1 month, it gets automatically renewed for a new month and so on and so forth. So it will be only canceled if the user cancels the thing. If you do not see this entry in the App Store Connect, then you have to set up your taxes and invoice information inside of the App Store, because without them, you will not see auto-renewable subscriptions. Last but not least, we have also non-renewing subscriptions. That are subscriptions that are not automatically getting prolongated. So with that, you have to, as a user, really say, okay, now I want to get 1 more month. So, and now we can create one, and I will do that for an example with the non-consumable, and after that with a subscription to make it very understandable. So now we can give a reference name. The reference name can be everything that we are interested in. So for example, the Flutter installation guide, which is a digital book. So we give the reference name. This is just a clear name that will be shown inside of your app later, maybe if you want to. And then we need a product ID. And the product ID is very important because it's unique across the Apple environment. So you need to find something that is absolutely unique for your project. So for example, Flutter installation guide could be already gone because I used it already. So we set a 02 behind of it. Now we click on save and it will say, hey, you need to add a display name. And if we scroll down, we have also the pricing that we can set to €2 in our case. And you can also change the currencies for other countries here, right? So you can see all the currencies like dollars, New Zealand dollars, whatever. And now we add Flutter installation guide and add a description, the guide to install Flutter. So you see, I'm very creative with my descriptions, but you see, you have here the possibility to set localizations for English, German, and so on and so forth. And last but not least, because if I save now, it will tell me something like it is missing meta information, this one. If you have the same problem, you need to add a screenshot, in the best case, of your app that shows the product. So with that, you can have, with that, it goes into review process. For our purposes, we don't really need that, but just to make sure that you are knowing that. So now we need the product ID. And what we will do is we go back to our Qonversion, go to Product Center. And as you see, for this project, we do not have any product yet. Give it a second here. So now we have to create first an offering. And after that, we can create, we can create an offering, but let's create a product first. And let's say we have here our Flutter installation guide. What type of product is it? So we can say it is a subscription with a trial, it is a direct subscription, or it's a non-reoccurring purchase, as a buy, one-time buy. Okay, so we cannot change the duration here. And now we have to provide the Apple Store product identifier. This is this number here. And now we can also give the Google product identifier and the Stripe identifier. With that, now Qonversion connects the product from the store with the products that lives inside of Qonversion. So let's save that one, and we have our first product. Now let's create also an offering directly so that we have a set of products together. The first one I call usually main, and this is our main offering. So you can also call that whatever you want if you have like ideas what exactly you want to have inside. For example, if you have bananas and apples or things like that, you can collect them here inside as a good naming. It's like a group of things. And I will add the Flutter installation guide to it and click Save. So that means whenever we ask for the main identifier, so for main offering, we will receive all the products that are living inside of it. So let's have a look and create a second product. Let's head over to the in-app purchases once more. I think we are done here, so up. And now we click on that plus icon and click for an auto-renewable subscription. And let's say this is our Flutter mentorship. Flutter mentorship, and let's call that 02. Make that quickly. So we need a subscription group reference name, which is our Flutter explained subscriptions. Subs, create. So, and with that, we have again missing metadata. And here you can also enter everything. Like, for example, the subscription duration is for a year or for a month. Let's take a month for us. And then we can say, what are the subscription prices? We save, of course. So if we add that, we can choose a price range again. As you can see, Apple offers everything here. Let's just take for testing purposes our 229 euros. Let's say next. And as you can see now, I could also change the prices for every other country. So if we say in America, it is just 5 euros worth because I don't really work there, then I can change that individually depending on the country. Good. Now we have set the starting price of the subscription. We have everything in place. And if we go back to the mentorship and I save again, we can also say offering codes, promotional offers. We can all implement all of that if we want to. But now let's head back to the subscription itself, enter everything that we need, like for example, the localization. So going with English now, say this is the Flutter explained mentorship program with Max. Great stuff. So this is now everything that we have to do inside of the Apple Store. And now we can work and start with the development if we add the product to. So let's create also a product once more, getting the conversion ID. Let's call that a Flutter mentorship. Select the type. This is now a direct subscription. We have it monthly. And we need now to find the name, the product name, add it here. We don't have added it for Google Play Store. And say save. If you want to do that all with Google Play Store, don't forget you can go here and you find under products the in-app products and the subscription. And everything else works nearly the same. As you can see here, for example, we have the product ID, and here you could collect this and add it to your conversion store. All right. So now we have added that, we have all that. Let's head over to code. All right, finally some code, right? So let's head over here. So now we have to create all the to-dos, or better, I have already added the to-dos in our branch. As you know, I called it step-by-step to-dos of the branch of the repository. You find it down in the video description. Now we have to add the conversion Flutter as a dependency. So how do we do that? We navigate a little bit above and we search for our where did we have it? On pub.dev, of course. And if we search for conversion, we will find very quickly the Flutter conversion package. And how can we install it? Of course, with the command flutterpub add conversion Flutter. All right, so let's do that quickly. We head over back to our terminal and hit it in our terminal inside. And with that, we should get now the beautiful new version 4.2 on our project. Great stuff. With that, we have that. And the first step has been done. All right, but before we now start and go really deep dive into the code, I want to explain you shortly the boilerplate and what we want to create today. As you can see, I've started already the app. You should see it right below me. That's the perfect spot because I need to watch on my phone. And now I can buy something, for example, the Flutter installation guide. And as you can see, a shop opens up. This is now from Apple Store and it allows me to buy something for testing purposes. I get here some information in German now, sorry for that. But you can see we have an in-app purchase, we have the price, and we have the possibility to purchase the whole thing. where I have to provide now my password, and after that it will work. We will do that later more. But as you can see also on the bottom side, you can see all the products that I have already permissions for. So that means on the bottom side, we can see which products I have bought, and on the top side, the products that I can buy. With that, we have the possibility to explain all the things in detail, how it works. And as you see, the UI is pretty basic, and I tried to separate everything into one service class that we will implement now one by one as a to-do. But also what we can see is we have a home screen, which consists out of two things, the product list and the purchase products. And the product list consists again out of a list view with a grid builder, so that we have these product cards that we have implemented. And here we have to decide for iOS and Android products. The reason is because iOS uses the SK details inside of the Q products. We will talk about that in more detail later. But it will take a different product inside of our conversion object that we receive from Qonversion. And with that, we have to differentiate between the two. All right, now that you have seen how and what we want to implement, you can see in all these different boilerplates that we have created, something like this service where we access the purchase product, for example. If we take a look into the block part in Qonversion service, we find now everywhere the to-dos with unimplemented errors. And we will now take step by step how to implement them, because all of them are connected with the app itself. And that will show us step by step on how we can make a purchase, how we get the permissions for a product, and also how we initialize conversion in the first place. So as we can see, if we start the app now, we see a lot of unimplemented error or something went wrong issues that we have implemented with our future builders. So it tried to load everything and somehow it didn't work. Now we want to initialize conversion for our project. If you don't know how this pattern works here, I have created this conversion service. There you will find a late future void that I will initialize in a second. And this initialize happens in the constructor of the service where we initialize conversion. And this calls this function where we now say setup. And the benefit of that is that in every function that will use conversion, we make sure that conversion exists and is already initialized correctly. So how can we now initialize that? So for that, we will have conversion configured. So I prepared, of course, something already. So with that, we have conversion launch, then the conversion project key is observe mode false. You can also set this observe mode to true if you are interested. And then we have this if debug, we don't really need that, set debug mode. Okay, so the first to do would be to set the SDK and the second one to get the debug mode. The debug mode is only that we see inside of our dashboard the analytics from our dev environments. So if we buy something from App Store Connect in a sandbox mode, we will see that in the dashboard from Qonversion. All right, now we get some errors because the conversion key, project key is missing still. So let me quickly switch over and head over here to settings inside of Qonversion of our project. And there you find the project key. And we will copy that over and we just paste that here inside. And with that, we have initialized our conversion. So let's see if this works. We restart our app. And if we don't see an error, that would be a good sign. And we should also remove that throw unimplemented error because, yeah, not a good idea. Oh, hey, this is the perfect moment to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. I would be very happy and I hope this video really helps you. And now let's get back to our services. All right, so here we are. Let's hit restart and we don't get any information, but on the other side, we don't get errors either, which is a good sign. So that means we probably are initialized conversion now. The service is created on our boilerplate inside of the home page. So inside of the home page, we initialize the service once and pass it down to all children that are needing information from there. So for example, we need the main offering to get all the main offerings. So we want to first initialize the product list that we can buy. And what do we need for that? As we can see, we need to purchase the product, of course. But what also is important that we get the products. And as you see, we have the method getProducts for that. We check that, we ask for the main offering, and after that we get all the main offerings, then we want to return all products of it. All right, so let's implement that. All right, so what do we do to get the main offerings? In order to get the main offerings, we first implement a try-catch block, because that is important here. We work with Qonversion, which offers us a lot of different errors that we can catch. Of course, I could also throw it into the application, because if you look below me, you can see underneath of bought products, there is unimplemented error. That means that our future builds that I have implemented will catch these errors and make a valid error message for our customers. Down here, you see that I ask for the offerings, and as you see, thanks to the singleton of Qonversion, we directly can ask for the offerings directly, and we receive the offerings always. So now we get all of them, and here we have the chance to ask for the main offering or the available offerings. We only have one at the moment, which is the main offering that we have set up inside of Qonversion, and therefore we return that right away. We print our error and we can remove the unimplemented error because now it is implemented. So, great stuff. But if we check, this method is not used yet. So let's take that challenge next. All right, so what do we do to get the main offerings? In order to get the main offerings, we first implement a try-catch block, because that is important here. We work with Qonversion, which offers us a lot of different errors that we can catch. Of course, I could also throw it into the application, because if you look below me, you can see underneath of bought products, there is unimplemented error. That means that our future builds that I have implemented will catch these errors and make a valid error message for our customers. Down here, you see that I ask for the offerings, and as you see, thanks to the singleton of Qonversion, we directly can ask for the offerings directly, and we receive the offerings always. So now we get all of them, and here we have the chance to ask for the main offering or the available offerings. We only have one at the moment, which is the main offering that we have set up inside of Qonversion, and therefore we return that right away. We print our error and we can remove the unimplemented error because now it is implemented. So, great stuff. But if we check, this method is not used yet. So let's take that challenge next. All right, next stop is to get the products. To implement our top part of the app, we need to get all the products. So first we ask for the main offering, and let's have a look how we do that. In addition to what we have done before, we just ask now to get main offering to receive our main offering. And if this one would be null, we would throw an error just in case. But after that, we just return all the products that are on the offering. And with that, we have implemented that already. If we have a look into the offering, we can see we get also an ID and the tag for this offering. The tag would be in our case just main. All right, now save that. And as you can see, the app has restarted or reloaded. And right away, we saw the Flutter installation guide. But where is the subscription? Let me quickly have a look inside of the dashboard. So if we take a look into the dashboard of the offering, we can see that the product is missing. So if I add that now here and say attach, I select the product of Flutter mentorship and I save the whole part. And now restart, oh, this is the simulator, we don't need that. But if I restart now the app, we will see probably the new product. Let's hit restart, and here we go. So the offering is the connection between the products. Well, thanks to our boilerplate, we immediately take that to create these cards, and now we are even able to buy these products already. No, we are not, because we should now see an unimplemented error. The reason is we have not implemented that. So let's take that next. All right, so now let's try to purchase a product. As you can see, we prepared the method already, and we receive a QProduct. The cool thing about that product is now it contains all informations about the product, like the SK product, SKU details. So these two are different depending on the environment you are. If you're on iOS, it's an SKU details where all the information are inside. If you are on Android, you have the SK product. Also, what you can see is like we have the Qonversion ID. This is the ID of the product that lives inside of Qonversion. Also on the other parts, we have offering IDs, we have the store description, trial duration, and so on and so forth, which we can use to show, for example, the application's information. But Qonversion is now very good to us and offers us very cool and easy accessible UI where we can just say purchase. And if we check that, we have two possibilities. The one is purchase product, and purchase product wants to get a Q product from us. On the other side, we could also use just purchase, and with that, we could offer that a product ID. But because we have already the product here in place, we can directly use purchase product and pass in the product itself. Do not forget that we need to try catch the elements inside here. So let's write try, surround this part, and catch. And also here we can receive an error. Make sure to read the documentation of Qonversion, because you can not only select all the errors that you receive, you could also say that you want to have specific errors in place. For example, you could have the conversion error for purchase and so on and so forth. Also here we just print the error at the moment just to see it in the console that we can debug the things. So with that, we have solved this problem. And if you check now the app down below me and I press on buy me for $2.99, we see, yes, this one. And now we see the sandbox environment. This account that you see here is the called sandbox account for Apple and the Apple environment. You have to set that up in your application. Also down in the video description below, I will send you a link how you can do that the best way. Okay, but now next. In order to buy something, we can try that now. So let's hit the buy purchase button. I enter now quickly my password and hit now sign in. And if I do that, hopefully you see that too, you see now done, and we are, well, done with the purchase. I think we will get now some errors, and in our case we received the operation couldn't be completed, additional messages null, and something crashed. So, but in the app itself, we get you are all set. We receive a positive case. And if we wait a second, if we check the purchase, usually we get the Q purchase exception. So we received an exception, and the reason is because we still throw the unimplemented error here inside of the purchase product. And if I remove that, now it should work. So let's buy the product again. And we can see it is now bought. Takes a second. Now it tells me, because we wrote that into the Apple Connect, that this product is non-destructible, so it will be always the same product. So it will tell me, hey, you have already purchased it. Do you want to get it again for free? And I say, okay. And now it tells me again, you are set. And if everything works well, we shouldn't get any error down here. And if we purchase a product and take a look into it, we see that we return a map of string and Q permission. So permission, we heard that already when we worked with the dashboard. So we can wait for this and ask for final permissions. And these permissions wrote them out to see what is inside of it. So when we have made a purchase, we should now be able to see what the permission is. So let's buy again the Flutter installation guide quickly. Let's say purchase, enter the password. 5. Now we bought it. And here in the, so because it is a non-destructible item, we saw right now that we get it for free again. And we say, okay. And so now after this purchase, we can see, oh, we get an empty array. Okay, something is missing in the setup. And the reason why it is empty, we can see inside of our dashboard again. If we head over to the product center, there is a third tab called permissions. And if we jump here inside, we can see there is currently none set. So we have to create a new permission to grant access to our products. So we have an identifier again, so like Flutter mentorship permission. The description is Flutter mentorship. And here we have to take a look what products it will unlock. It will unlock, in our case, the mentorship. And with that, we save it. So with that, you can also group multiple things with a different permission. So if you, for example, have a bronze, silver, and gold product, then you can combine multiple products into one permission. That is very interesting to know. So now we have that for the Flutter mentorship and Flutter install guide and Flutter installation guide. And which product it will unlock is in this case the installation guide. Save. All right, so that means now that if we buy one of the two products, we receive on the other side a permission for it. All right, so with that, I will quickly reload. And we want to buy once more the product. So switch back to the screen. Buy once more the installation guide. Space. Enter the very complex password. And here we go. If we take now a look into our terminal after we have bought the product, here we go. Now we get an instance of this map, as you can see, with the key that we entered, Flutter install guide, which is exactly the same that we have entered in the dashboard, and an instance of queue permissions. And this instance of queue permission contains now all the things that we need to be sure that this instance is created, and that we are using to show now the purchased products. Okay. Enough for the theory. The only thing we need to do here is actually to buy it. We don't really need the permissions at this place, but we would need if we wanted to update the state right away in our app. Down here, we have now two last methods, like the get product by ID and get purchased products. The get purchased products is for that we get the permissions from the server. And down in the lower part of the app, we have unimplemented error at the moment. That comes from this error here. So we have to fix that up. So how do we get all the purchased products? And also Qonversion helps us here very again. So I prepared already something, but what you can see is we received a map again from this permission for this check permissions stat. Qonversion will use the user ID that we have, that it's created for Qonversion internal for each app, or the ID that you pass into it to check the permissions now. And for us, this permissions goes for the device. So now it's checking the permissions and returning us the permission map that we know already from before from the product. What I do here now is I create a list of products and pass and go through each permission that we have on this map. Inside of each permission, we now have to get the product by ID that lives on the permission. And we add this product onto our list of products. With that, we return these products and know now exactly which products we already have bought. The only thing is that we need to do now is we have to implement the get product by ID method. So jump here inside and do the same thing again. So how do we get the product by ID now? You guessed it already, we use Qonversion again. So in order to ask now for the products by ID, we first need again our offerings. So let's add the code here. And as you see, we get the get main offerings again through the method. And after that, we search inside of all products of the offering, the product that we need and that we want to show. And then we'd ask if the error is null, and then we return the product at the end. And that's actually everything we need to do. And if you check now already our app down below, thanks to hot reload, we can directly see the bought product. So we can see that the Flutter installation guide is already bought. Isn't that great? So now let's try the same thing for a membership. Let's hit buy me for 229 with the price that we had before. And you can see again, we get our details that we have entered in the Apple Connect. We get also the name of it. We have everything, the name of the app. We have the icon of the app. We have the payment per month. And now I press subscribe and have to enter again my credentials. Pressing sign in. And now you can see that we validate everything. It will tell us now that we have bought this product. You are all set. Perfect. Now it doesn't update. As you can see, the bought products don't update. That's the reason, because we need at the moment to provide a hot restart. If you do it, of course, you will do proper state management as we discussed it in other topics, and this will update automatically. But you can see now that we have the bought products of Flutter installation guide and Flutter mentorship. Be sure that the Flutter mentorship is now a subscription, and in Apple Sandbox mode, the subscription timings are different. So if this is a month, it will just take 5 minutes, for example. This is to make testing very easy. Cool. So now we bought a lot of products in our Sandbox environment. And this gives us one last step that I want to show you. I would like to show you the dashboard once more with the updated details, because now the conversion knows already the boards that we have done. So let's have a look into our real-time statistics. And let's see if we made some revenue today. So we can see already that we had 2 daily users, we have them per hour, and so on and so forth. And we can see we have an in-app purchase. So from $3. And the reason for that is we bought the Flutter installation guide, right? So as you can see or thought already, we don't see all the things immediately. This is because we need to hide it, and it takes a while to track everything. But what you can see is we get already our informations that we want. And if I take now a bit more time, we would also see all the subscriptions that we did inside of here. Also, we can see underneath of customers, the one customer that is here inside. And here the subscription is already in place. So only because the revenue didn't track it yet, don't worry, we have this event covered already. So Qonversion knows what it does. All right, so now heads back to Max and let's wrap this show up. All right, so what did we saw today? We have learned how to implement the Qonversion SDK right away into our app. It was a very basic app, but we know now that the basics to implement all of that into our apps if we want to create an e-commerce store or something like that that sells digital products. Subscriptions are possible, and you have the opportunity to see everything in dashboards, what happened. I was honestly very surprised on how easy it is to implement all these features, because actually it is not quite easy to lift. The most problems I had actually to fight with Apple Store and the Play Store to understand all the different bits and pieces and legal stuff and so on and so forth to really create these products. Now that everything works, I'm pretty happy with it and really happy with the outcome. I really hope you enjoyed this series, and hit the like button, subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. As always, thanks once more to Qonversion to sponsor that video, and thank you very much for watching, and we see us hopefully soon. Bye.